Let us pray. Gracious God and light of the world, today we come before you to acknowledge these new graduates and to celebrate their special achievement. No doubt they have learned a lot of big words through the years of their education, but today we use the simplest words that remain as important as ever. First, we say, wow, recognizing our immense good fortune in waking up to a world where there's so much to see and still more to discover, where growth happens and new life emerges, and where beauty is always before us if we only know where to look. We also say thanks. Thank you for these graduates. Thank you for their inquisitive minds, hard work, and their resilience in the face of obstacles. Thank you that they dared to dream of a better tomorrow and that they then took 1,000 small steps in pursuit of that dream. They have proven to be go-getters, and we know there is so much more to get and to give. So for that, we finally say, help. Help them on the road that lies ahead. Give them meaningful work to do and countless ways to do it. Where they see the world broken, give them a heart to fix what they can. When the way is dark, help them to find a light. When they are discouraged along the way, revive their hope and grant them strength. And let love always be their success. For this we pray. Amen. Thank you for joining us for the 2021 William Woods University Commencement Ceremony. My name is Travis Tamarius, and I'm the University Chaplain. I have just a few announcements before we begin. In the very unlikely event of an emergency requiring evacuation, we will interrupt the ceremony with instructions and important information. Please take note of the closest exit. Those who are seated in the back half of the auditorium will then leave through the doors that you used to enter the auditorium, and those who are seated in the front half may exit out the side doors in the front. Staff members will be stationed at those doors to assist you. And for the continued safety of our community, we do ask that you continue to observe the current COVID-19 protocols while you're on our campus. Our ceremony is slightly modified today for the safety of participants. Graduates will receive their diploma covers by picking them up from the small table to my right and may pause for a photograph before descending the stairs to return to their seat. And at this time, we also ask that you please double-check your electronic devices to make sure they are turned to silent so that we can continue with the ceremony without disruption. I would now like to introduce our platform party joining me on stage this afternoon. Beginning to your left on the front row, Dr. John Long, Professor of Education and Chair of Doctoral Studies, as well as your commencement speaker today. Dr. Amy Sapp, Vice President for Academic Affairs and Academic Dean. And in the second row from your left to right, Dr. Jim Kincannon, Professor of Education and Director of the School of Education. Dr. Christy Lorenz, Professor of Education. Dr. Tom Frankman, Professor of Education and our Faculty Marshal. And Dr. Eric Hilskemper, Professor of English and the Director of the School of Humanities, as well as our Assistant Faculty Marshal. And at this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Jim Kincannon to introduce our commencement speaker.
Thank you, Travis, and congratulations, graduates. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. John Long. Dr. Long serves as the chair of our William Woods University doctoral program and has for the past 3 years. In this time, he has implemented many changes in the EdD program, so I thought it was very appropriate for him to take this opportunity to speak with you. He offers very, what's that?
Easy for you to say.
Easy for me to say, yeah. Offering the program in the online modality, headed several additional support structures, and continues to oversee programmatic and assessment measures. Prior to his role at William Woods University, Dr. Long held impressive K-12 administrative positions. Dr. Long's contributions to the field of education are vast, and William Woods University is fortunate to have such an innovative, creative, and pragmatic individual leading the EdD degree program. Please join me in welcoming our speaker, Dr. John Long.
Thank you, Jim. Hello. I was told that I was not going to be able to speak as long as I normally do. So thank you, and I apologize if I speak quickly because I know some of you are used to hearing me speak a long time. So thank you to Dr. Barnett, Dr. Sapp, Dr. Kincannon, my boss, and members of the Board of Trustees for giving me this opportunity to speak with you here today. It's a beautiful day, even though it's a little rainy. Today represents a lot of time, effort, and yes, money that you have invested. And yes, invested is the correct term. You've invested in yourself and in your career. Perhaps this career represents the starting line for the rest of your career. Perhaps it represents a marker for the next phase of your career. For some, perhaps it represents the end of the race and honoring a promise you made to yourself or to someone else that one day you would complete this degree. Look around. Do you see the auditorium and all the velvet? That means you did, in fact, complete your degree. Congratulations. Whether you've completed your specialist degree or your doctoral degree, your being here today represents more than a journey, more than an achievement, more than a race started and completed. It represents something else that you may not have thought about yet. Those of you who know me or had me in class know what comes next. This reminds me of a story, because of course it does. One day, seemingly a long time ago, let's call it 20 years, two bright-eyed, enthusiastic scholars were having a conversation sitting in the outfield cheap seats at a pro baseball game. One was in their second year as the head of their own school, the other the first as the head of their own district. The conversation ranged from excitement to concern. Excitement about the opportunity to make a difference in the lives of children, employees, and the community. Concern about all the things that they knew they did not yet know about being an exemplary educational leader. Over time, both would in fact come to be recognized as exemplary leaders. People followed them from one place to the next because they wanted to work with them, but that was later in their story. For now, the concerns were far outpacing the excitement. That was probably normal because they cared very deeply about those people who would look to them for safety, inspiration, and leadership. There were many things they did not yet know how to do, things they knew they needed to learn. They discussed who they could turn to with questions when they didn't know the answers. They promised to always pick up the phone when the other one called because it was important to know that there was someone who knew what this part of the journey looked like and felt like, and who would always pick up the phone. Find those people in your own story. Finally, one of them looked to the other and said, "Do you realize we are the leaders that other people will now look to for all those answers that we used to ask questions about?" And it was true. In their new jobs, they couldn't leave their office without someone stopping to ask them a question, either easy or difficult. But always there were questions. "How did that happen?" the other one said. "Time passed," the first one answered. The second one said, "And we kept learning, kept earning degrees. Now we're the people that others will turn to, and if we do it right, look up to." They were quiet for a bit and let that settle in. It did, but it wasn't a weight, it was a joy, because the two had learned something important. When they were young teachers, they used to talk about fake it till you make it. You've probably heard that sentence. Some days that meant staying a few pages ahead of the students in their class. Sometimes it meant volunteering to be on a committee or taking on a task no one else wanted to do. Maybe they didn't want to do it either, but they took it on anyway. Over time, something interesting happened. They weren't faking it anymore. They had made it. They had the degrees and the experience that qualified them to take on difficult tasks and succeed. They were the people others turned to when they needed to know how to do something difficult, how to keep a struggling student, or how to help a struggling student be successful, how to rebuild a building or a school culture, how to lead. So what does this story have to do with you? Everything. I've said for a long time that, and you guys have, some of you heard this, dumb people don't learn from their own mistakes. Smart people do. But really smart people learn from the mistakes of others. If someone wants to learn something from really smart people, they ask them questions when they can. They simply watch what they do or listen to what they say when they can't ask them questions. Well, guess what? Now you are the people that these really smart people are going to turn to. Why? Because you made mistakes. Certainly. Few get to where you are, surrounded by other people in velvet, without realizing that they made a mistake or two. Anyone that's followed my career can tell you about mistakes I made. I'll tell you about mistakes I made. And yet here you are. You persevered. You persisted. You didn't quit when other people did. You prioritized learning when other people didn't, and that's hard. When other people prioritized short-term things, you didn't. You made sacrifices and had to have family and friends join you in those sacrifices, whether they wanted to or not. However, I'll let you in on a secret. You live your life, and you are important in ways large and small, but you are not the center of the world. Sad but true. The sacrifice you made might always be something that you remember, but things you missed while you were at class or working on a paper or your dissertation, your friends and your family, some of whom are here today, will not remember with the same clarity that you will. Their pride in you and in your accomplishments will wash away their sacrifices from their own memories. It's okay if they don't wash away your memories of their sacrifices. If you think you still owe them something, use some of your new free time to tell them thank you and to be a better parent, spouse, child, or employee than you thought you were while you were working on this degree. If you just completed your specialist degree, use their happiness for you as a great opportunity to mention your hopeful interest in starting your doctorate. But if a doctorate is not in your plans, that's okay. As I've said many times, no one needs a doctorate. If you're, oh good, that was an applause line. Look, okay, no, it's just you with your bottle. I thought you were applauding. I was really excited for a second. If your formal educational journey is done, I'm proud and happy for you. You've reached a point that few people reach. Enjoy where you have arrived. If you're celebrating your doctorate today, let me speak to you for a moment. Excuse me. Your formal education might be over, but it might not. Keep your mind and heart open, as there is always more to learn. Learn by sharing with people who ask. Share through your actions, share through the words you say, share through what you have learned and in your journey to teach others. Now back to everybody. My favorite theoretical framework, because we love the theoretical frameworks in the doctoral program. You guys in the doctoral program may know that my favorite theoretical framework is dramaturgy. This is a metaphor that uses the idea of a theater, such as the one we're in, and to explain how people act when they are in public or on stage, like now, and when they're in private or backstage. When you're backstage, it's okay to work on your lines, ask questions, and to practice. But when the curtain comes up and the spotlight hits you, then I want you to remember something that I learned from hard experience and mistakes. The audience is looking for you to succeed. They want you to succeed. You may still flaws, both small and large, in your performance, but they typically don't. It is their first time seeing this particular play, so say your lines with confidence, even if you don't feel confident. Look out at the audience and know that you are no longer faking it. You've made it. It is your moment. Own your stage. I'm proud of each of you. Hang your diploma with pride. Whatever makes this achievement real to you, I want you to embrace it, revel in it, and know that you earned it. Those of us at the Woods will be here to help you should you need it. All you have to do is ask. All of you have been a blessing to me. Thank you for listening to another of my stories. God bless.
Thank you so much, Dr. Long, for joining us and for sharing your stories that are always meaningful and helpful. All right, graduates, it's that time. Will the candidates please stand? In accordance with the unanimous directive of the Board of Trustees, it is my esteemed pleasure to bring you greetings, graduates, to welcome you, and to confer upon you the appropriate degrees. By the authority vested in me by the President of William Wood University and by the State of Missouri, I take great pleasure in conferring upon each of you the degree to which you are entitled, along with all the rights, honors, and privileges appertaining. My warmest congratulations to you all, and to the parents, families, and spouses, and friends who have supported you throughout your journey to this most worthy achievement. You may be seated. We will now go ahead and proceed with the awarding of the degrees to this year's graduates. Dr. Hilskemper will call the graduates to the platform. I'm going to ask for your assistance in maintaining the ceremony by holding your applause until all degrees have been awarded. However, I invite family members of the graduates to please stand and be recognized when the name of your graduate is called and they cross the stage.
Mackenzie Taylor Bennett, Professional Learning Communities, Perceptions of Rural Missouri Educators PLC's Ability to Enhance Collaboration and Eliminate Teacher Isolation. Lucas Bennett Chapman, How does participation in career and technical education courses impact propensity to graduate from high school? Kevin Dole Drinkard, Perceptions of School Connectedness and Behavioral Outcomes Among Intermediate-Aged Boys and Girls. Kelsey Lynn Fessler, High School Principal, Self-Perceived Leadership Styles and the Effect on Missouri Student Achievements on the ACT. Misty Eileen Galloway, The Effects of Tiered Intervention Services and Their Impact on Grade Level Achievement in Grades 3 to 5 in Southeast Missouri School Districts. Michelle Ann Gregg, Reading and Math as Predictors of Discipline Referrals. Stephanie Dean Grisham, Relationship between Mathematical Ability in Middle School and High School Mathematics Performance. Greg Harlan, secondary principal education level effect on student achievement. Amanda Michelle Kent, teacher turnover, the impact on 7th and 8th grade student achievement in Missouri Public Schools. Eta Laron Knighton, teacher perceptions of culturally responsive teaching. Corey Lee Conley, a correlational study of teacher self-efficacy and Missouri's career education professional development. Andrea Vazopoulos Lockwood, the relationship between students' perception of school climate and student achievement. Matthew Garnett McCord, an investigation of available student fitness, wellness, and recreational sports programs on student recruitment and retention at 2-year colleges in Arkansas. Gina Ann Robbins, perceptions of certified school personnel's investment in a multi-model attendance team approach to truancy reduction. Sean Christopher Schultz, impact of a 4-day school week on teacher preparation. Raymond Streeter II, a comparison of the 4-day school week to the 5-day school week and reading achievement of 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. Anne Elizabeth Wallace, the influence of collective bargaining and student achievement, administrator perspectives. Tony Westbrooks Barnes, superintendent's preference and self-perception of their level of competence in selecting the model and evaluating the district's special education directors. Dr. Fernanda Blackburn. Heather Beach. Melissa R. Byers. Emily Lauren Pfaff. Kimberly Shaw.
Okay, how about a real congratulations now for the class of 2021. Okay, graduates, I know that you're aware you did not get here alone, so I'm going to ask you to stand up one more time and turn around and give those in the audience and watching from home some applause for supporting you along this journey. I congratulate all of you on this milestone in your academic studies. I wish you success as you continue to learn, grow, and pursue your dreams. We at William Woods are extremely proud of your accomplishments, and we look forward to watching all of your future success, both professionally and personally. I hope you continue to embrace the change that leads to your success. And with that, the 151st commencement ceremonies of William Woods University are now adjourned. Guests, we ask that you please remain seated while the graduates exit the auditorium. And graduates, you may follow Dr. Hills-Kemper out of the auditorium, where you'll be greeted by faculty and may reconnect with your guests.
Thank you.